I don't even know how to start this. So if you guys have been watching mainly my live streams, you would know that I like Colin Cowherd. I like him a lot. In fact, he's the only media, sports broadcasting journalist that I even listen to. He just seems to always have an argument to back up his statements, his predictions, even his lists. But this one, well, let me just take it back to whenever this taping of the show aired. I was sitting there watching the Herd on Fox Sports. And he says, okay, I'm going to list my top 10 quarterbacks in the AFC. Not in the NFL, in the AFC. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, here we go. Carr's going to be at 8 or 9 or maybe even 10. It's going to make me upset. But hey, at least he'll get some screen time, some recognition. Oh, look, there's Derek Carr. And then he started listing MAHOMES, Lamar, Watson. Yeah. Big Ben, okay, when healthy, Hall of Famer. Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen. He's a good player. Then Cam. Hasn't played in a full calendar year. Then Then Baker, who threw as many interceptions, 21, as Carr had touchdowns, 21. And then Darnold, who's done nothing yet. And then Phillip Rivers, who Carr beat twice last year. And then Drew Lock, who's played not even half a season as the starter. So how did this happen? Well, of course, like I said before, Colin has a reason for why he doesn't have Derek Carr on the list. Let's take a look. Take a listen for that reason.
Well, what about Derek Carr? I think Derek Carr and John Gruden have issues.
Gruden doesn't like Carr is the reason. We'll get to that momentarily. But I would like to know, if I was on the set that day, I would ask Colin. I would say, Colin, okay, in a fantasy world where Gruden and Carr love each other, where they have been together for coming up on 3 years, where they live right next to each other in Vegas, where Gruden constantly goes to bat for Derek Carr in post-game interviews. Oh, wait, this isn't a fantasy world? This is the real world? Oh, okay, well, in that world, then where would you put him? Because it seems like an easy out to say, oh, they don't get along, Mariota. But what about Tom Brady? Weren't we supposed to sign him? What about Kyler? We had 3 first-round draft picks. I'm pretty sure Cliff Kingsbury would have taken them. So why is Carr still on the roster? Oh, because Gruden has a 10-year contract. Yeah, you're right. He's going to wait till season 5 to pick his quarterback. At the end of the day, it's very easy to say, oh, well, Carr and Gruden, they don't, But when you look at the facts, Gruden and Mayock have constantly praised Derek Carr, drafted him a running back, a left tackle, a couple of wide receivers, signed a right tackle, signed Tyrell Williams, all to get rid of him, right? We go back to Colin Cowherd's criteria for the list. Well, he says, it's the situation, the receiving core, the running backs, the coach, the O-line. Well, let's think about the Raiders receiving core. Hunter Renfrow, who had more touchdowns than Odell Beckham last season. Tyrell Williams, who had 650 yards with, burnt feet. Darren Waller, who was probably a top 3 tight end in the league. And I didn't even mention Henry Ruggs, who they drafted, or Brian Edwards, or their top 5 O-line in the league. Colton Miller, Richie Incognito, Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, Trent Brown. Or John Gruden, who's clearly shown that he knows how to construct a roster and call plays on offense. That's not good enough to crack the top 10. To beat Cam Newton, who hasn't played in a year, who has Julian Edelman, and then, oh, that's it? Well, what about Baker? He's got a great receiving core, a really good running back, a developing offensive line, but last year he threw how many interceptions? 21? Oh, interesting. Well, what about Sam Darnold? He has Le'Veon Bell, who's not even that good anymore. What about Big Ben's situation? He's really got a great thing going there. He's got James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster, and then, oh, that's it. So it's interesting to say, well, it's the situation. Drew Lock, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, oh, those are rookies who haven't done anything. That's his list. Opinions are opinions. Everybody's got one. You know the saying. However, I'm here to give you my list, because that's really why you're here. The top of my list is identical to his. I got Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. Lamar Jackson at 2. Deshaun Watson at 3. Simple. Then I got Ryan Tannehill, who he claims to be a one-hit wonder, even though he never once played bad in his career. He was just injured. When fully healthy in Miami, they made the playoffs. And when the Titans signed him and he took over, I knew they were going to make the playoffs. They were up 10 in Kansas City in the AFC Championship. And then 5, I have Derek. 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,000 yards, and 100.6 quarterback rating. 4% higher than 2016. Then when fully healthy, I have Big Ben next, then Josh Allen. Then Sam Darnold, who went 7-6 down the stretch with the New York Jets. Cam Newton, who I believe is the 9th best quarterback in the AFC. And Drew Lock at 10. I think the kid's decent. But to have him above Derek Carr, he's played half a season. I like him, but he's got to show me before I start to predict the future of Drew Lock. I didn't even touch on the fact that Phillip Rivers, who Derek Carr beat twice last season, is higher than him on Colin's list. Sure, he's got a great O-line. Running backs are okay. We'll see how the rookie from Wisconsin does. His best receiver, T.Y. Hilton, is 30 years old. And he went from the Chargers roster, which is top 6 or 7 roster in the league, to an average roster. And all of a sudden, the Colts are back. So here's where I stand on Colin Cowherd. I like him a lot, but this list is asinine. And I needed to talk about it. So I gave you my list. Comment your list below. No intro for this video. No outro. I'm upset. And I can't wait for the season. And I can't wait for Derek Carr to prove everybody wrong.